Alrighty then. I've done a video on address day on my channel before. Long time ago, so you have to dig through all my old videos to find it. Because I, you know, uh, live in Japan and everything. I've been to so many stinking dive house shows that I've seen a lot of different bands. Um, Now, this band, Dendenmushi, um, in the IRC chat I'm in, um, they shared this, and I listened to it because I always give everything I can a chance. And I'm gonna review this song right now. And for all you weebs who are obsessed with stuff like Love Bites and baby metal, which is baby shit, um, your your weebetry, your weeb levels are over 5,000. Okay, or over 9,000. Sorry. Um, Now this, I'm gonna go over this little by little with this video because I want to show off so many of the things that are so generic about Japanese metal. Okay, and just the whole scene, right? Which is why I only really listen to like a couple bands at this point. I'll listen to Anthem because Anthem is Anthem, but I only have Domestic Booty for an album. I've listened to other Anthem stuff, and I like it, but um, Domestic Booty is the shit. Um, and Adrastea, as much as I did a video on them a couple years ago, or a few years ago, trying to promote them a little bit in the English speaking world, um, they haven't done anything in years, and I am still friends with members of with the bass player, and he said he hasn't talked to anybody in the band in like 3 years. So Address Day is basically a dead band now. Um, and there's Vigilante, which they just basically write music whenever they feel like it. But they are like talent. They actually have talent, right? They played Bang Your Head in Germany a couple times, quite a few years ago. So they're one of the earlier bands that actually got out of Japan and started doing stuff overseas, and actually has a bigger following overseas than it does in Japan. And I will promote Vigilante to the day I die because all of the members are extremely talented and everything. Okay, so um, what we're going to do here is I'm going to go through little bits and pieces and analyze the video, and I'm going to point out all the different little things that make this band extremely generic, and I don't know why people are so into them at this point, because they just I what people are calling them is like a cheap onmyoza, but this is um there's so many bad things about this, and I'll point out every little thing about this because there are no like reaction videos or anything out right now, and I actually don't give a shit about reaction videos. But I wanted to put out something that's actually legitimate criticism, not just like, hate on a band, because I can hate on lots of things, and I do hate on lots of things, but I want to look at this from an entirely from like a deeper point of view that people aren't going to notice. This isn't to say like whether like um you can like them or not. I don't give a shit. That's up to you. But I'm going to point out all of the generic bullshit in here, and all of the stuff that um you know when a weeb hears this, they're going to go, "Oh my god, it's so good, kawaii! The singer is so kawaii," or some stupid crap like that. And without actually having listened to the music and listening to the um to the production or any of this other stuff. Now, this comes from me being a massive Timo Tolkki fan, and being a massive fan of Stradivarius, of old Stradivarius. And I have very high standards for my music. So I want people to, understand this, okay? So I'm going to point out all the little things that I noticed. I've only listened to the song twice, but the first time I listened, I immediately picked up on all of this stuff. So let's get on with this. So let's start there. The intro. This is something all Japanese bands do now with all of their YouTube videos. You look any Japanese band, and they'll do the name of the band and then the song right after that, and then they'll jump into the music video. It's like, you don't have to do this. Like, just put, like, do something like they did on MTV. Put a little, like, thing in the bottom right and just out of the way, okay? This is something they all do, and it drives me crazy because it's just a waste of time. Okay, now let's going back and listening to that intro. Nothing wrong with the music in and of itself, but I want you to pay close attention. This guitar player is using a 6-string guitar. The one playing the red guitar, which is an E2, I believe it's a Horizon, but I don't like ESP and I don't care about ESP, so fuck ESP. But I know it's an E2 and it's a hardtail bridge guitar. It's a 7-string. Now, if you notice, listen very carefully to the rhythm section. You cannot hear the 6-string guitar whatsoever. Now, whether this was in production and they just didn't use a 6-string guitar in the rhythm parts and they just used the 7-string, or the 7-string's low B when he's just chugging on it, it's blocking out any of the low sounds that are coming out of the 6-string. Whatever it is, it's awful. It's just awful production and awful. And if they did use a 6-string guitar in there, because I can't hear it, even if they used that 6-string in the rhythm parts, I know in the video they use them, but in the actual recording, if you can't hear it, then what's the point of it being there, right? This vocal style, it is completely visual kei. This is something all visual kei singers, male singers, do. This way of singing is just so fucking generic, okay? Yes, it's cool. It's a bass player singing. We got Marco Hietala with Tara and Nightwish, okay? Sorry. He's an amazing singer on top of the fact of him playing bass, right? But this is just generic, okay? This is extremely generic. If you haven't noticed yet, the drums are sampled, okay? And sampled drums, just no. Just, if you're going to record, hire a studio drummer to just record the drums for you. Don't just, like Power Tools, Cubase, Reaper it with some, sampled drum shit, computerized drums. Like, use a real drummer. It's just awful. This is why music sounds like shit. And this nowadays, because people don't actually use drummers, especially in Japan, with a lot of the metal bands that they have that are in the metal scene over here, like in the minor scene, is they don't, like, a lot of them get drummers from other bands and borrow them for certain shows just to, have a live drummer there, right? The thing is that sampled drums are not real drums. And I was watching an interview with Timo Tolkki, of all people, last night, that he talks about this, where you're going into the, like, production. He was talking with a Finnish drummer who's on YouTube. And they were going into the depths of how important the drums are. When you use sample drums, you're taking away all of that. And it's just, ugh. I can't stand these sample drums. The female singer's voice sounds like it came out of some modern Japanese animation opening song shit. Okay, it's her high pitchy stuff is so much in that, you know, that sound. If you listen to any of that, you know, like modern, you know, you listen to most Japanese animation opening songs from the last, I don't know, 15 years or so, you'll find so many of them that have this high-pitchy, kawaii voices, for lack of a better term, that it just, it grinds your ears after a while. And this is why I say this is extremely generic. You're taking a generic anisong vocalist singing female, and you're pairing it with a generic visual kei sounding vocalist, and the only thing they're really doing is wearing kimonos or hakamas on screen. That's it. And it doesn't sound like anything unique. It sounds like it's a whole bunch of generic on top of generic, right? That's the chorus. It, you know, it doesn't, it just sounds so generic. Oh my god. Like, it just doesn't, it doesn't bring anything out. I don't feel emotion in the song. And this, you know, I bring up Stradivarius and early Stradivarius because I think early Stradivarius, when Timo Tolkki was a singer, is better than, you know, post, you know, like Cotapelto's Stradivarius. But it just, the music doesn't move you. Like, yeah, you could headbang to it, but the beats are generic. It's all sampled. The guitars are like, the 7th string is burying the 6th string, and the singers are generic sounding. Okay, it just no, sorry. And that's as far as I'm going to go with this, because I don't think the solo is really worth anything. And like, it's just a little shreddy bit with some tapping in it, and the shreddy part is with the 7th string, and then the tapping part is with the 6th string. And that's the only time you can actually hear there's 2 freaking guitars playing at the same time. So if you want to listen to yourself, listen to yourself. I just wanted to go up to the first chorus point so you can hear where I see all of these issues with this song, and I don't get why so many people are fapping over it. It's, you know, it's 2 generic singers with, you know, generic chugging with, you know, a few little Japanese sounds in it to make it sound like Omyoza or something, or make it look like Omyoza or Rakshasa or something like that. Rakshasa at least was a little bit different, but, you know, they're not around anymore. But this just, no. I can't recommend this kind of shit to people. Because it just it keeps everybody locked into not finding what really good Japanese music is, like really good Japanese metal. You know, you go back to the old anthem stuff. You go back to, you know, like some of the Germany influenced metal bands of the 80s. Yeah. Um, there are a couple of them. Um, I think one was Rotterdam. I can't say the other one because YouTube will ban me for using the word or something. The name of the book that Mr. Mustache wrote. Yes, there's a band called that was in the 80s in Japan. Their album is extremely hard to find, but they sound amazing. Look them up. Just type the name of the book and band, and you'll listen to that, and it's amazing. Um, I believe it was Rotterdam. I can't remember exactly what it was. There's another band that was like that. They had all the symbols in the background on the shows. It was really cool, actually. But um, this is nothing but typical copied generic sounding stuff, and it's um, uh, it's if you like it, that's your prerogative, but I can't honestly recommend this to somebody um when they have no idea what real Japanese metal and music sounds like, what the really good stuff sounds like. Um because it's just you have all of these things that just line up with, generic. What's special about this? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, anyway, I think I'm done with this. I think people got the point. And so now I am going to scuttle along and take care of some stuff. This was a little bit long of a video, but I wanted to explain everything. So, anyway, and it's a little different from the Macross stuff I've been doing lately. So I thought I would talk about this band, and just because some people are talking about it that I just don't want to. I have to speak to the actual fact of the matter of this band. So anyway, all right, that'll be all for this one.